everybody, Mark here again for the fourth part of the Q&A session. Okay, now it's 1:45 and there are a few, I've been in between loading each of these, because I can't do all, four at once. They've got to be done in segments, in 23 minutes segments. While I've been loading these, I've been reading the comments coming in. I want to address a couple of them, but first, which kind of cheese me off a little bit, but I'm gonna address them anyway. But before I do that, I'm gonna finish off the last 3 or 4 questions. Just so I can get the shout outs, because some people appreciate the shout outs that I give them. They've spent the time to send a question, they appreciate the shout out, and I'm going to do this for them before, address the ones that don't appreciate, what I've done. I mean, this is hard, this is not as easy as it looks. I'll tell you what though, I'm up here, it's 1:45, spent the last couple of hours filming. Anyway, I don't want to get into too much of a downer, but I'm going to address those in a moment. Worst, alright, onion rings, that was OMG, it's wedge. Cathal C. Hi Mark, which of your reviews would you consider the worst with regard to the resulting impact on your digestive system? Which would you consider the worst with regard to the results of the impact on your digestive system? Sort of unusual. There are a few, there's some very good questions in here. So got me thinking this one. I think, I can't think of it. Last week, I did something involving some chicken. I think it was a stir fry. Now what I did, I came home from work. There was a pack of 4 chicken breasts, because they're frozen solid, so I snapped 2 of them off, put them in a plastic bag, and then put them in a bowl of hot water. And it defrosted in sort of 20-30 minutes. Now I had this stir fry, and the next day, I had the next day off work, because I had a right stomachache, I can only guess it was to do with the quickness that I defrosted the chicken. Because normally I'll take it out in the morning, put it in the fridge, and let it defrost over the day, which doesn't always, because the fridge keeps it fairly cold. But when I finish work, take it out, and it's pretty much defrosted, and then just got to defrost it a little bit more in some water. But when I went from frozen to frozen solid to defrosting in hot water in like I say 20-30 minutes, that was possibly wreaking havoc on my digestive system here. And also one, and I don't know which one it was, you know what, I've got a feeling it was this one, this cider bottle review, I've had a couple of them that are very, very strong fermented apple flavour, and sometimes they're a little bit rough on the stomach, but just because they're so bitter. But aside from that, I don't think I've had too many problems in that regard. Yeah, not defrosting a chicken, I think that's what the first one was. Okay, so that was Cathal C. Godfried Ajay. Hi Mark. Now that your YouTube has stopped your advertisement money, how do you get a revenue for your project? I will like to contribute to your channel. Well, that's very very decent of you. Okay, well, the answer to that, and anybody else interested, is, as you know, as of 4 or 5 days ago, they've stopped the advertisement. It was just it's is a bit of a pain, but what are you going to do? But yeah, I mean, to answer that, there is. I had somebody like most channels do, although they don't blab about it. Is they, you know, like in the on every video you have your headline, and then below that you have a description of a rough outline of what the video's like, what it's about. In that, a lot of videos have a little thing you can click on. It's for Patreon and PayPal. Now, Patreon is, if you, from what I understand, I had somebody come around and fix it for me, but from what I understand, Patreon is where you make a, you can make a donation, sort of like a, you know, like a monthly donation. I think it's like a minimum is like $1. It's an American dollar, which is about 70 pence, I think, roughly. But you can go onto that, do that one month, you know, monthly payments like that, and which of course you can cancel, and you know, you're under no contract. You just cancel it whenever you want. You can start it whenever you want. And also there's a PayPal. A lot of people have PayPal where you can make, instead of doing a monthly thing, you can just do a one-off, like you know, I don't know, you just send a one-off payment, and that's it, just a one-off, and there's no monthly payments. So that's the long way around that. So in the description, PayPal or Patreon. Okay, but I mean, like with every channel, it's completely compulsory, uncompulsory. What's the word I'm looking for? Optional. Okay, it's all, you know. You can watch it for free. You can you can subscribe to the channels. You can comment. You can watch all the things. It doesn't cost you anything, but if you choose to, that's appreciated. Right, but yeah, you're under no obligation. That's the word I was looking for. So thank you to Godfred Ajay. Thank you. And that's it. Right. That's okay. Well, there's a couple more. Even though, you know, a lot of people appreciate the shout outs. I've got one here that, you know. Let's see, Paulie420 wrote to me in between either part 1 or part 2 or part 3, one of those. He's not happy with the shout out that he got, or the answers that he got for his questions. The problem is I'm trying to make the best of the questions that I got, okay? But what I'll do, I'll try and answer your questions again in a little bit more detail, so you don't feel as hard done by as what it would appear. Okay, well, you've got 5 questions. Do I prefer a cat or a dog? Well, given the choice, chicken, dog, then cat. So, cat over a dog, but ideally, you know, dogs are more, you can train them, they're more sociable to humans. Do I smoke? If you're talking about tobacco, then I haven't. Well, even anything else, I haven't done that in a long time. But tobacco, cigarettes, I haven't smoked in 7 years. I was 40 when I gave that up. I went on to one of those electronics. It's not like the electronic cigarettes they have now, where it's a big box the size of a cigarette packet with a tube coming out, and you smoke on that. The ones I had, they're actually shaped like a cigarette, and from a distance they kind of look like a cigarette because the filter part that you put in your mouth is coloured like a cigarette filter. The end of it will glow red, or sometimes blue, or sometimes green, depending on what model you have. But they look like a white cigarette. You know, you got your filter, which you put in your mouth. That's the part with a sponge in it. which has the nicotine liquid drops. You put drops in there, and the actual tobacco part, which would be on a real cigarette, all that is actually a one long battery, and you can charge that up. And then that's what I use to just from start to finish. I was using it for approximately 9 months, you know, and what happened was you smoke it every time you want a cigarette, which is fine, which is great. You just have 3 or 4 puffs, undo it, put it back in its box. Over the months when the months go by, eventually you'll find that the time in between when you need this nicotine rush it gets further and further apart. I used to go in, I used to have a couple of puffs in the morning, and before I know it, bang, it's 3 in the afternoon, and I haven't even thought about having a puff, you know. But 9 months, I would say, until I stopped using the machine. And that was, 7 years ago since I used the machine. Do you drive? Not anymore. I don't have a car anymore. I passed my driving test when I was 40. I was the last one in my family to pass my driving test. I passed when I was 40. I passed first time, of course, because, like I mentioned before, with all my hobbies, ranging from chickens to training to metal detecting to archery, I treated this like a hobby. Okay, I learnt the highway code up and down, back to front. I don't know if they still do, but you could download a mock test. It wasn't the test that cause you do a test when you go to the, or you do it online. But what you can do is do a mock test. And I just went down that over and over again and over again. It gives you a multiple choice, and I think it gives you a pass or a fail rate at the end of it. And then once you get comfortable with that, I mean, basically you're learning every question in the book, but you don't know what questions are coming in the real test. So it's not like you're learning by heart the real test. You basically memorize, it's forcing you to memorize every question in the highway book. So, I did a bunch of mock tests, then did the real one, passed that, passed the actual driving test. I think I had like 2 points. I think I can't remember what they were for. Perhaps I didn't look in the rearview mirror while changing gear or something silly like this. But they were just minor ones. But yeah, I made a point. I wasn't gonna arse it up the first time round. I made a point of doing it properly, and I did it the first time. Favourite song or artist? Well, I don't really have a favourite song or an artist. I just like certain songs off of pretty much everybody. That's why I always buy the best of albums. If I'm buying a CD, I'll buy the best of. I won't normally buy an album, because you find 3 songs on it and the rest of them you don't like. So I just buy the best of compilation albums. You buy those out, you buy those CDs. It's got like 30, 40 artists, and it's got the best song of each of that artist. Hits now, I think they used to call it, when I was a kid. Do I have any kids? No, I don't. They're too expensive, can't afford any, and I don't want any, I can't be having kids at my time in life. Anyway, I'm 47, so by the time I'm retired, say I retire at 70, the kid will be 23. I can't be dealing with somebody who's just out of teenaging years. At that age, it's besides, I mean, kids are great. Well, they're not, but no. I mean, I might have made a good parent, but all my I don't want to get into too much detail with you about it, but all my role models or all the people, you know, but basically as I grew up, there was ranging from the I had my dad, which is not a person I'd want to follow his example. Everybody that I knew growing up were divorced parents, and I hung around with, you know, my friends were the children of divorced parents. So it kind of gives you a jaded, you know, I mean, you know, anyway. Okay, so no kids. All right. Well, I hope that is better than the. That, you know, that's a better answer to your questions. I know you wasn't. I mean, I probably did gloss over them before because I didn't think there was a lot I could have contributed to that. But seeing as, you know, don't want anybody to go around unhappy with their free shout out. So I hope that's better for you. Now, Mr. Phil McCracken. In fact, him and his wife Pat, they've asked me to elaborate on the bull run. You know, which you know, oh boy, it's where do I start? I mean, you go. You know, let's see. I've got to do this in about 5 minutes before the tape runs out. Anyway, so yeah, the bull run. I'll tell you about something about the bull run. Okay, Pamplona, the real popular one. That's the one. But I mean, if you're going to see any clips, that's most likely what you'll see on YouTube. They have more injuries and deaths. Oh my God. Than anywhere else, because I think they do, because it's so popular. The whole place, the whole town, and the actual route that you run, it's just jam-packed. I've seen footage, and Christ almighty, it's like deadly, you're going in there. I mean, where we went, San Sebastian, that's no picnic either. I mean, people were getting stretched out in the road after the bull run had finished. I mean, there's paramedics. You've never seen so many paramedics and police in one place, other than somewhere you'd expect a riot to be happening, you know? I mean, the whole atmosphere is pretty good, you know? You don't have, like in England, you know, I mean, I've been living here all my life, and you definitely, because of the drinking culture we have here, you go somewhere and there's something in the air, you know? You can feel it quite often. You go into a crowded pub or somewhere and you can feel it, you know? It's an atmosphere of shit could happen here, you know? But you don't have that in Spain, at least not where we went. I mean, there's drinking all over. I mean, there's when the bull run's finished, it starts at 8 and it's finished by 3 minutes past, right? Come 10 o'clock in the morning, there's still people asleep in doorways. They've been, you know, they're flat out drunk all night. They're asleep in doorways. They've pissed themselves. Yeah, this happens, you know. And the funny thing, there was one of these big fat guy sleeping in a doorway, and people were coming out, people just walking down the street looking for somewhere to get something to eat, and they see him, run over to him, lay down in the doorway and give him the thumbs up and have their friend take photographs of this guy, you know. I mean, and then the police show up and they shoo you away and they wake your mum and that, but that's the kind of thing that happens, you know. It's anyway, but yeah, as for those who haven't seen or not familiar with a bull run, the running with the bulls, you know, it's not cruel or anything. It's not like abusing animals. It's like, you know, people who don't know used to criticize me for being cruel to animals. It's because they don't know nothing, right? But basically what it is, you're in a street with, you know, 2,500 people. It's approximately 200-meter run. Not in a straight line. There's all kinds of up-down streets, left, rights, round corners, because it's a street. You know, you got houses. You got blocks of flats on either side. You got shops all lining up the street. Anyway, you're lined up there. You're in there, cacking yourself because you know it's going to happen any minute now. You're in a solid crowd. There's not a lot of room to move, and you're looking around, and people are happy. People are cheering. You know, they're all excited and all that, and it's strange. I mean, we saw some injuries. We saw people laid out, getting worked on by the paramedics and stuff. It shouldn't laugh about that. But no, I mean, I saw two people. One of them was in the bull. He was in the road with us, and the other person was in a pub a few days later, with their face. The side of the face was mangled, and it wasn't like a, it looked like it being gored. By, so I mean, they could have been in the bull run. We didn't ask them about it, of course, but it looked as though they'd been gored by or trampled with gored, stuck with a bull horns or something, because it looked like a hole, where it'd been stabbed, with a, but it definitely wasn't an object. It looked like a, could have been stabbed with a bull or something. But yeah, there's the absolute mayhem and the carnage is unbelievable. When you have that many people running down the street, and they're running full pace, and you don't, because you're being blocked by the bodies of everybody in front of you. You don't see them running. You don't see exactly where they are until they're on you, and then you've got to sprint like mad, and then hope the people in front of you don't get in the way. They've got to get out of the way. They either run or get out of the way, or if they fall, you've got to try and jump over them. But yeah, if you don't get out of the way, then you're done for. It really is. But like I say, it's scary as hell, and exhilarating. And afterwards, you think, Jesus, I survived. Thank you, Lordy. But at the time, you're kacking yourself because it is. These things are huge. You see them on the telly. They look fairly big. But when you've got if you put your arm out, if you're you put your arm out, that's how big the back is. And then you've got the head. Then you've got the horns. The thing's got to be 8 foot long. And they can move. Let me tell you. They weigh half a ton upwards, but they can shift. And there's no way you can outrun them. Okay, you can outrun them for a short while, and then you need to move out of the way and just let them go and hope you don't get caught up in the hooves or anybody's feet, And but yeah, it is just craziness. But I tell young people that I work with, for Christ's sakes, do it. Don't be on your deathbed looking back in 70 years' time thinking, Christ, I wish I hadn't have done that bull run. I wish I hadn't have jumped out of that plane. I wish I hadn't have done these things. These memories that I have. I tell kids, do it. Because you'll only you'll get old and you think, oh shit, should have done it. Anyway.